Welcome to Speak for Yourself. All of us at Fox Sports salute our veterans today. Both want to send a big thank you to those that are serving and those that have served. I'm Marcel Swally. That's Emmanuel Acho back in the building. You saved us a suit, huh?
Marcel, you act like I left for a week. I missed one day.
Dog.
One day.
Did you watch the show?
Yes. I saw you talking about Cam Newton.
Oh,
terrible
really?
takes.
Oh,
His
really?
terrible takes don't stop when I leave. I see that.
Well, wait for this terrible take. Let's get it started with Russell Wilson. There was a campaign this season to let Russ cook. On the positive side, he leads the league with touchdown passes with 28. But on the other side, in the Seahawks' 2 losses this year, Russ threw the ball over 40 times each game and had 7 turnovers. So, Acho, did the Seahawks make a mistake letting Russ cook this season?
Big bro.
Big dog.
I'm coming in with these facts that are about to hurt some feelings. The Seahawks did make a mistake letting Russ cook this season. But it's because when they chose to let Russ cook, they messed up the DNA of winning football. They messed up the DNA of Seahawk football, but they messed up the DNA of what it takes to win a Super Bowl. That's why I think they made the mistake. When you let Russ cook, you looked past and beyond the deficiencies everywhere else. The deficiencies at the running back position. You look beyond the deficiencies of your defense, which has been declining for the last, 5 or 6 years.
Go there.
You looked beyond all those deficiencies because you said, you know what?
What?
We got Russell Wilson.
Yes.
And while Russell Wilson is a top-flight, top-tier quarterback, what we know is you put too much on anybody's plate, and they will drop that plate. Did the Seahawks make a mistake letting Russ cook? Yes, it's not an indictment on Russell Wilson, but when you try to overload one characteristic, one positive attribute, one positive trait, you forget you got to tidy up some other traits. Marcellus, if you try to live this life simply depending on your good looks, as Marcellus, you should. You should.
It's got me far.
A strapping man rocking that purple suit. You look good. You got to work on your light skin pose, but you look good. So if you depend so much on your looks, you're going to forget to tidy up your personality.
I heard about
your character.
Yeah.
You start to form some bad habits.
Right.
The Seahawks depended so much on Russell Wilson. They forgot about the running game, forgot about the pass rush, forgot about tidying up the secondary, although Jamal Adams has been hurt, obviously.
Right.
Yes, they made a mistake letting Russ cook.
I don't think they made a mistake. I think that they looked at their strengths, they looked at their weaknesses and realized we have to utilize our best asset, and that's Russell Wilson and his throwing ability, the best deep ball thrower in the NFL. Think about this. You talk about how they got away from their winning ways. Winning ways? Okay, this is a team that has won 1 Super Bowl, and we called it a dynasty. They got close a second time, but they didn't win. And since that moment, you can look at them by their attributes. The running game has been strong, but there's been a glass ceiling. Like, we haven't gotten farther with our running game, including last year, it let them down. Looking amazing through the regular season, injuries happen. We got Marshawn Lynch off the streets, back playing running back for the Seattle Seahawks, and I think they came to a realization that, hey, maybe there is a glass ceiling for us to always let our defense lead, because as you said, it's been in decline, and our running game, because guess what? Not reliable when we need it most. Since the Super Bowl loss, that interception by Russell Wilson, this is a 9-11 win team. They lost the divisional round 3 times. They lost in the wild card round 1 time, and they didn't even make the playoffs 1 time. So you look around and you say, who is our best player? Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook. Now, the reason they started to say let Russ cook is because they wanted to get off to fast starts. When you get off to fast starts, what happens? You don't have to wait to the 4th quarter to turn them loose to win the ball game. So this was a calculated decision that started in the year they didn't make the playoffs in 2017. The only year he's ever missed the playoffs. You know what happened? Russell Wilson had 4 games in which he reached 150 pass yards by halftime. They were 4-0 in those games. And then the other remaining games, they were 5-7. He didn't get to that same mark at halftime. I think they came to a realization like, hey, we've seen this already. We've tried to ride our defense to 1 Super Bowl championship, but we ain't even got that same defense. We're not going to do that. No Legion of Boom. Our running game has let us down to the tune of we lose in the divisional round and wildcard round. Let Russ cook is our only option, and it seems like their best option.
Big bro, just because you can cook doesn't mean you should be forced to.
Oh, we going
Let's
here.
go there. Just because you can cook doesn't mean you should be forced to.
Aren't you single?
Well, I am. I learned how to cook.
You learned how to cook?
I know how to cook, my dog.
Has anybody else tasted what you're
No
cooking?
question about it. And not human beings, and they like it.
Okay.
So your boy can cook, but just
quarantine.
because I can cook doesn't mean you should force me to cook. Because every now and then, Marcellus, I can whip up a fire meal. But if you make me cook every single day,
I'm listening.
I might burn a meal or two, like Russell Wilson burned a game or two against the Cardinals and against the Buffalo Bills. Don't force me to cook just because I can. Allow me to cook when necessary. Don't force me to cook. Let me elaborate on the why. The only quarterback that is unequivocally better than Russell Wilson is Patrick Mahomes. That's the only quarterback. And right now we can say...
Not the unanimous MVP?
Is stop. That's the only quarterback we can say is unequivocally better right now.
You hate that accolade, though. You hate it.
It's Patrick Mahomes. But get this, big bro.
What?
The Chiefs don't even let Mahomes cook.
Ooh.
If you don't let Mahomes cook, why in the world would you let Russ cook? Let me put you on game. Chiefs last year, 23rd in the NFL in rushing. Still won the Super Bowl. But they said, dang, our rushing game is whack. What did they do in the first round? You could draft any position in the world. You're the Chiefs. You're playing with house money. First round, you take a running back. Okay. You take a running back in the first round. What do you do during the course of the season? Look around, got to add some pieces. You add probably the best running back of the last decade. Obviously, people say he's declining, but you add him and Le'Veon Bell. The only team that has a quarterback unequivocally, no debate, better than Russell Wilson, Kansas City Chiefs. And they don't even let him cook. I'm going to leave you with this nugget. If you want to win a Super Bowl, which the Seahawks do, they want Russell Wilson to win an MVP, they want to win a Super Bowl. Look at history, because your past will also be indicative of your future. The fewest rushing attempts by a team to ever win the Super Bowl, I'm going to give you three names. 2019, the Chiefs. They ran the ball 19.5 times a game.
Deep.
2010, the Packers, they ran the ball 21.7 times a game. 2011, the Giants, they ran the ball 24 times a game, if I were to round that figure up. Right now, the Seahawks, they only run the ball 19 times a game. In 2018, Marcellus, they were first in rushing attempts. 2 years later, by 2020, they're 25th. This is against the Seahawks' DNA. Let Russ cook if you will. He gonna make some fire meals. I will, too.
I don't know.
I'm gonna burn some down, Sam.
I don't know. I'm gonna hip you to that Freshly account you need to order something through. I don't know how you cooking over there. Here's the thing. You have just skated over the greatest issue with the Seahawks. It's not if we should let Russ cook. It's we need to stop letting everybody else come over to our house and cook. What the hell is Josh Allen doing cooking for him? Like, the defense is the biggest issue for them. Cam Newton went and cooked for him. Dak Prescott went and cooked. It's the defense. You're talking about getting away from your DNA. What has been the DNA of the Seahawks? It's been the defense. It's been the running game. But when those let you down, you have no options. I understand what you're saying. You're going to Russell Wilson too much. I don't know about that. I brought up 2017 when they first realized maybe let Russ cook should be a thing. This year, Seahawks 4-1 in the games where he has the fast start, 150 or more passing yards by halftime. You just look at it. It's just that simple for this team. Let Russ cook is the only answer, and it's really the best answer. Let's get somebody in here who could break this tie. Fox NFL analyst and champion, Greg Jennings. So, Greg, did the Seahawks make a mistake letting Russ cook this season?
Absolutely not. You just said it when you ended. That was their only option. If they don't let Russ cook, they're not even where they are currently sitting atop the NFC West and atop the NFC, really, at 6-2. Like, they don't have a chance without allowing their best player to facilitate. Understand this. We all know that defense has to do their part, and it's a team game. But if Russell Wilson isn't as special, if he doesn't cook, DK Metcalf isn't having the type of season that he's having. Tyler Lockett isn't having the type of season he's having. We get so caught up into one game when he cooks and sometimes he burns the meat. Look, it happens. When you a chef, it happens. You have to understand, let me toss that meat to the side. Let me give them the meat that I need them to really take in. And so, Acho, I get it. This is not built for long-term success when you're trying to win Super Bowls. But right now, this is their only option to allow Russ to cook.
I like a little bit of what you said.
You don't like that much.
But I don't like that much of what you said.
I knew it.
Marcellus, he's a track dude. We talk track all the time, G. I think you know this by now.
Stick.
Sell. Usually the Seahawks, they would run this 400-meter race. We'll call this the football game of 400 meters, and they would try to pace themselves and kick at the end. Russell Wilson in the fourth quarter get him the ball, and he'll kick at the end. Instead, Marcellus, what'd he say? He said, you know what? I'm going to sprint out the blocks. I'm going to come out each game firing. I'm going to start the season sprinting. And what has been happening? He's starting to run out of gas. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I think the issue at hand is, Greg, letting Russ cook. Sell, it is letting Russ cook. Not because Russell Wilson's not the best player on the field, not because he's not a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, but he's running out of gas. Y'all, we've seen it slipping away. Can we talk about the full screen, please? Yes, Sal, he is.
Let's go.
First 5 games, Greg, 5-0, 19-3, touchdown-interception ratio. No fumbles lost. Last 3 games, 1-2, 9-5, touchdown-interception ratio. 2 fumbles lost. You can remove the full screen. Let me talk to my fellas.
My dog.
Y'all remember you running a 400 meters, and that last 100, that monkey jump on your back? You go from being here to you just here trying to survive. That is what it has looked like for Russell Wilson the last 3 weeks. Now, maybe some sort of break or extended weekend will salvage him, but Sal, it looks as though that monkey has jumped on his back. 7 turnovers the last 3 games, 3 turnovers the first 5. You got to explain that to me, sir.
I will explain it to you. It sounds like the monkey jumped on your take because, boy, I'm about to give it to you right now. As the only guy on this show currently that is not only national champion in track, but also a national record holder in the sport of track. Let me talk about that same race, the 400 meters, which I won the nationals in.
This was 40 years ago.
Hey, I'll give a damn. It was in this body that I did that. You ain't taking it away. You ain't taking it away from me. All that Jimmy Kimmel, GMA, you ain't coming up in here. Let me stop. Here's the thing about it. My coach, Coach James, one of the best track coaches in the world, told us this, and it was so profound. But he's right. Acho's right. I was like 11, 12 years old. He said, look, when you run the 400, there's a guarantee that once you come around that last curve, you're going to be dead tired. Your legs are going to feel like noodles. So here's our approach. We're not going to save it for the last 100 when you're going to feel like noodles anyway. Get out. Fast start. Run as hard as you can. Treat the 400 like the 100, and then we'll just have to make it through the last 100 through heart and perseverance. Now, why do I bring that up?
Why?
Because I'm looking at Russell Wilson right now, and they've come to the same realization. Let's just get off. Let's just go off to this fast start. Russell Wilson in his career is 35-5 once he has those fast starts, 150 more yards by halftime. 35-5. The league is worse than that. So they come to a realization that Russ cooking is actually a great thing. But let me just finish this off with a little bit of a full screen to give you perspective. I don't like to give like Acho does, the last 3 games versus the first 5. I give you somebody's body of work, like me as a national track champion. Here's his body of work. Best record since the NFL 2012 season, when you talk about a guy having 4 or more touchdown passes. Brady, great career. Manning, great career. Drew Brees, great career. Russell Wilson, my goodness, look at that win percentage right on top of Aaron Rodgers. If you take the full screen off, the simple realization is they know this is their best option, this is their only option, and actually this is their winning option. Why not ride this way?
Yeah, I mean, it's really not an argument, really.
No, it's not.
It's not debatable. Russell Wilson has to cook in order for this team to even be on this show being discussed. If Russell Wilson was not cooking, we would not be talking about the Seattle Seahawks. We understand, yes, against Arizona, he turned the ball over too much. But you know what you're going to live with? You're going to live and die by allowing him to do what he does best, which is cook, period. Put it on his shoulders, put it on his leg, his vision, his understanding of the game. And like you said, Wiley, at the end of that 400, if it gets too heavy, I'm going to need you to have some type of mental stamina to shake it off and just get across the finish line. And I'll also say this.
Say it, brother.
When you cook, it's cool to cook, but you got to have somebody that eats and tell you what you've cooked is good. And so when you cook, your defense is eating what he's delivering. However, they're allowing the other quarterback, like Wally said, to cook on them. You can't cheat on me. Look, if I'm gonna cook for you, you're gonna let me cook for you. You can't let any and everybody else cook for you.
Down.
Period.
Y'all sound like the jealous type.
We sound married too.
Look, this is how I'm gonna say.
I'm definitely the jealous type.
This is all I'm gonna say. This is how I'm gonna end my take.
Okay.
Y'all act as though football is only played 7-on-7. For 7-on-7, just offense versus offense, offense versus offense. No, because there's special teams. There's defenses as well, G. There's defenses as well, Sal. My issue with all of this letting Russ cook talk is you are making your terrible defense even more vulnerable because you know that you're putting him on the field even longer because you're not maintaining the ball because you're not running the ball. You ain't taking time off the clock, so you're not you're not shortening the game. When you elongate the game, you elongate the butt whooping. That's all I got to say. Let him cook if you want to, Sal. But it's no coincidence that the last time Russell Wilson led the NFL in passing touchdowns, which he's on pace to do, he also led his career in interceptions, which he's on pace to do. They also didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, wow. So we have to learn all the parts that connect to make a football team. Okay, let's do it. Look at the rushing attack, 14th right now. Russell Wilson is second in passer rating, completion percentage third, fourth in passing yards, passing touchdowns, he's first. I didn't hear anything like 14. Oh, let's go to the defense. Oh, they're 32nd in pass defense and 32nd in total defense. Oh, didn't sound like top 5 to me either. When you look at this situation as a whole, you have to remember this. No defense is upset if you score points. Oh, by the way, the Seahawks are scoring the most points in the NFL this year, 34.3 points per game. Last time they led the league in points per game, what happened? Oh, that was 2005 when they went to the Super Bowl. Hey, Acho, I don't know how you cook, but I see how they cooking in Seattle. They just trying to get to the Super Bowl again. Coming up at the top of the hour, mic drop. Tom Brady just had the worst loss in his career, and Bruce Arians is calling him out again. We'll tell you if we're okay with that, but first, Cowboys are in line for a high draft pick. We'll tell you if they should just tank next season. Next, speak for yourself. Acho's back.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Ezekiel Elliott said the Cowboys, quote, still have a shot after they lost their 4th straight game Sunday. But Dallas is now 2-7, and they're tied for last place in the NFC East. My apologies. Right now, the Cowboys are in line for a top 3 pick, which sparked talk if they should already be planning for the future. So, Marcellus, resident optimist. So the Cowboys, can I be honest?
Why do I get an eye roll because I'm positive?
No. You're positively unrealistic. Okay, can you at least be real? But anyway, I digress. I'm not going to speak your take into existence. Should the Cowboys tank this season?
No. You know I ain't going to say no yes to those junk like this. What? I'm still upset that you're mad that I'm an optimist, but I'll get back to that later. Look, if you're trying to win later, how about win now so you can have the building blocks of success? You like that? Almost a Wiley-ism.
No.
Look, I'm building a winning culture here, brick by brick, and every brick counts. Every brick matters. All bricks matter in this respect. Look, man, I don't understand this tanking. First of all, how do you execute tanking? Hey, come here. Acho, check this out. I don't want you to play as hard as you usually do. That's not going to work. Hey, let's go out there and now put our 4th stringer out there, and everyone's going to be like, the hell are we trying to do? That won't work. So tanking can't even be executed. So to me, that is nonsense. Let's talk about what makes sense. Mike McCarthy, building blocks for Mike McCarthy's culture reset. And that's what's happening right now in Dallas. I want to have a little fun with you because since every time I tell you that Mike McCarthy inherited a 4-12 team that went 8-8, that turned into a 13-3 bunch, that turned into a Super Bowl champion a couple years later, you just look at me with the same eye roll because I'm an optimist. But I want to look at it and apply it to this situation. Tanking benefits you, incentivizes you. How? Oh, you could get a top pick. You can get high in the first round, not just first round, 19th if you win the division at least, but you can get in the top 10, top 5. Have a little trivia time with you, Acho, since you want to do the talk show circuit. Come back home and have some trivia time. You ready? Most accomplished player ever in NFL history was drafted in what round, Acho? Sixth round? Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, Acho. Okay. No, that's too easy. How about the second most accomplished player in NFL history with 5 rings? He was drafted in what round, Acho?
What position are you referring to?
Defensive end. Linebacker sometime.
Third?
4th round, Acho. Pick 96. Ding, 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 ding. And there are too many guys.
Wait, pick 96 is a 4th or the 3rd?
I don't know.
32 times 3.
Hey, we're going back, way back.
Okay.
Hey, that's when they had 30 teams. You don't know about that. I was drafted with 30 teams.
Fair.
You don't know your history. All right, so now there are too many guys with 4 rings to even talk about it, but they all weren't top picks like Matt Millen, et cetera. So here's the point. When you look at this, there's no guarantee you're even going to get you a winning player, or you're going to get you somebody that is a true building block. I leave you with these stats right here, and I don't know what you're going to say after I hit you with this. Do you know that 58% of players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame were not drafted in the first round, and 71% of the players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame were not drafted top 10. Oh, my God. In summation, I would like to say this. Most great players are not top picks or first rounders. Mic drop, your turn.
I love that you ended with that, because at first I was worried, America, I'm going to be honest. I was like, dang, he got a pretty buttoned-up take. Take looked like his suit. It looked good.
Yeah, boy.
But then at the end, a button popped off. So, you know what I can't stand?
What?
I can't stand when I'm watching an NFL game and I see a graphic that says, you know, so many players on the field were 3 stars and below, and that there's only 5 stars on the field, and you're more likely to make the NFL if you're a 3-star than you are a 5-star. Bruh, it's only about 35 stars every year, where there are hundreds of other 3 stars and below.
You did that.
So if you come at me and say that the majority of Pro Football Hall of Famers weren't drafted in the first round, there are 32 first-round picks. There are 300 other-round picks. Play the odds. I'm not going to talk about gambling. It's a new year, a new decade of life for me. I'm going to use 1 casino reference a week, excuse me, and this ain't the show to do it.
Okay.
So I don't like the ignorance of that take. Let me tell you why the Cowboys should tank. You got me distracted. Let me tell you why they should tank.
That's ignorant, huh?
The beautiful part of the NFL, Marcel, is the parity. It rewards you for being bad because it's trying to level the playing field. In the NBA, you can be terrible, and there's no chance that your being terrible will be rewarded. Sure, you might get a lottery pick, but who knows how that's going to shake out based on what, the odds, a chance, or whatever the case may be. In the NFL, if you're bad, you earned that top pick.
You earned it by doing
it. Marcellus, the Cowboys have earned a top pick. As sorry as they've been, let them get what they deserve. Dak got hurt. I feel for him. Defense don't even run to the football. Like Mike Nolan, been terrible. They have earned the rights to draft high. But you want to tell them, hey, keep fighting.
Yes.
Keep fighting.
Yes.
And now you're going to lose both.
Yes.
Now by trying to fight for more, you're going to lose it all. So, I live on the 3rd floor of a townhouse, a little townhouse building, and the kitchen's on the 3rd floor, rather.
I'm about to say, that ain't a townhouse if you got floors like that. Lying over here. That's a condo.
Stop putting my business
Maybe
on
apartment.
I live on my kitchen's on the 3rd floor, and sometimes I'll go to the grocery store, I'll go to Gilson's, I've told you this before, and I'll come back with all these bags, and I'll have about 7 or 8 bags, and I'll try to take them all in at once, because you know, I ain't taking 2 trips. But when you try to put that last bag in your hand, what happens? You end up dropping all of them. You drop all of them because you're trying to do too much. If the Cowboys try to fight to win the NFC East, which they're not going to win. Hint, Cowboys fans, you're not going to win.
You don't know that.
If you try to fight to win the NFC East, now you're going to not only lose the NFC East, but you're going to lose out on a top-tier pick.
Wow. So, Acho, this hot take that you have today, I wonder what you would have told
It was cold.
the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, who didn't win their division, didn't have a winning record, but were still out there fighting because they knew that this was a long play. And they ended up being an 8-8 team without their star quarterback, kind of like, no, they didn't.
Okay.
And you know what?
Was it worth it?
Yes, you know why? Because right now, those building blocks led to them being the only undefeated team.
Ben Roethlisberger coming back. Chase Claypool
and
coming back.
And Dak Prescott will come back next year. You're making my point. So, look, you don't tell a team, even a Super Bowl contending team right now in Tampa Bay, is a 7-9 bunch last year that they said, keep fighting. And they finished strong. And that's a building block. I understand you stand tall, Acho, but you also could stand taller on the shoulders of past success or even past failures if they're culture building. That's what's happening in Dallas right now. I understand what your point is about top picks are supposed to be better than bottom picks. I understand the first round is supposed to be better than second rounders. But since there's no guarantee, why will I go out there in effort and focus to go for something that's not guaranteed, which is a top prospect? They miss as much as they actually hit. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, all I'm trying to do is win between the ears first. The record, whatever. Are they going to win the division? Who knows? But right here, it's time to build winning football, and it could pay us dividends going forward.
The dividends that will be paid are simple. Last year's first number 1 and number 2 pick, Joe Burrow, Chase Young. You see what they doing. Year before, Chase Young been hurt. But you see what Burrow
He still got that burst, though.
He do.
He nice.
Year before, what? Nick Bosa, Kyler Murray. When Bosa, you saw what he did his first year. You see what Kyler is doing. If you have an opportunity to get a number 1, number 2 overall pick, likely looking at 2 because the Jets, they even worse. Marcellus, you don't sabotage that for what? And here, you asked a great question because, America, you're probably wondering, how can you even tank? You got to do it on the sly, Sal. You can't tell players go out and be bad. No, you say, hey, let's start Ben DiNucci this week.
What?
You say,
and Andy Dalton's back and all that money?
Or you do this.
What?
Do this, because this is even better.
I don't do that.
Let's keep playing Garrett Gilbert. Yay, we see a lot of promise in Garrett Gilbert. We're going to develop him for the future. We're going to see what he can do. Don't put Andy Dalton out there. Or, hey, DeMarcus Lawrence, you're a little tight this week. Zeke, you got a calf? Just rest up. It's possible to tank, Marcellus, without actually intentionally telling your players to tank. But for Jerry Jones' sake, for the sake of the future of the Cowboys, this season, spill milk. What they say, you don't cry over spilled milk, right? Don't cry over it.
Yeah.
Just go buy you a new gallon. The first 2 rounds, first 2 picks, rather.
Yeah, but you would cry over spilled milk if it happens, especially on the 3rd floor, and it had to drip and rain spilled milk all over your condo, townhouse, apartment projects. I don't know where you live. Here's the thing. Top 3 players in the NFL this season. Let's go by Fox Bet and MVP. Dalvin Cook, was he a top pick? No.
First round pick, I believe.
No, he was not. Second round, the 41st overall. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Russell Wilson, was he? You already know that dude. 3rd rounder. Oh, look at that eye roll again. I'm positive. Patrick Mahomes, was he? Fringe. He wasn't top 5. We was 10. Like, he's not top 5. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys are trying to shoot for. Ben DiNucci, let's go out there and get a top 5 pick. What the hell? Building blocks for the future is all you need to respect if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Coming up, Brett Favre. Damn, I'm winning 2 for 2. Brett Favre says the Eagles should have kept Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. We'll tell you if there's any buyer's remorse in Philly. Next, think for yourself. Feeling that milk.
My name is Mass Communication Specialist 2nd Class Natalia Murillo, and I'm stationed in Camp Lemonnier, Djibouti, Africa. I want to say hi to everybody from my hometown of Las Vegas. Happy Veterans Day, and go Raiders!
Thank you, Natalia, for serving our great country. You have every right to be fired up for your 5-3 Raiders, who are firmly in the playoff mix.
Yeah, wins against the Saints and the Chiefs this season. Big salute to all our veterans who have fought for the very freedoms that we enjoy every day. Now let's move on to the Eagles. They're in first place in the NFC East, but Carson Wentz is having a rough year with a league-leading 16 turnovers. Wentz has never won a playoff game. You hear that, Acho? But he signed a massive extension last year. Hall of Famer Brett Favre said yesterday the Eagles should have signed Nick Foles over Wentz, since Foles led Philly to a Super Bowl title. Whoa, Acho. You think the Eagles have buyer's remorse keeping Wentz over Foles?
See, I hate when people do this.
Who, Brett Favre?
No. It's like you for asking me the question. Sal, it's like asking you, which one of your children do you love more?
I do have an answer. Biscuit, MJ's first, Maraca second. You want to keep going? I got 4. I rank them.
I hate you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Too
Most
much.
parents wouldn't rank their children. Say, I got love for Nick Foles. I got love for Carson Wentz. The Eagles don't have buyer's remorse. They don't have buyer's remorse because they made the right decision. And they made the right decision at the time. Carson Wentz, what was he, 11-2 that year, 2017? On pace for an MVP season. Plus, he's young. Plus, he's on his rookie deal. Yeah. He gets hurt. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen after that injury. If you're an Eagles fan, you're thinking, even if Wentz would have stayed healthy, we still would have won a Super Bowl. Nick Foles comes in, has one of the greatest runs we've ever seen. Now, let me talk about my guy, Nick Foles, again. Love Nick Foles. My dude, he put me in his house when I got traded from the Browns to the Eagles. I know I'm biased. I'm going to speak to y'all like I'm biased.
We hear it.
I got love for Nick Foles, but let's be real. For whatever reason, Nick Foles is incredible in relief. but he's not great as a starter. 2013, I'm playing with the Eagles. I'm playing with Nick Foles. We start 3-5. Michael Vick, he's our starting quarterback. Nick Foles comes in, goes 7-1. We finish the season 10-6. He sets a record, most passing touchdowns in a game with 7. He sets a record for the Eagles, most completions consecutively with 25. He has his jersey in the Pro Football Hall of Fame for that Raiders game. 2017. Nick Foles comes in relief of Carson Wentz, has one of the most historical runs to lead his team in a Super Bowl we have ever seen in the history of the NFL, particularly from a backup quarterback. 2020, goes in relief of Mitch Trubisky against the Atlanta Falcons. Trubisky, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Foles comes in, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. They win the game. Nick Foles is incredible in relief. But for whatever reason, as a starter, things are not as good as they are when he comes in relief. So, Marcellus, how in the world would you have buyer's remorse to keep a guy, Nick Foles, as a starter who's proven he is incredible in relief, but not the same as a starter? The Eagles don't have any buyer's remorse. Carson Wentz has been a good quarterback, hasn't necessarily been to the top 2 hype, but Carson Wentz has been a very good quarterback.
Oh, man, boy, you can tell you love both them dudes and the city of Philadelphia and the Eagles uniform you used to wear. Boy, do your job, okay? Let that go, big dog. I talk bad and good about my teams, depends on what the question is. Let me talk about this one. The answer to this is, yes, they have buyer's remorse, but to be clear, they kept the right quarterback, in part, largely, because he's 4 years younger. So you got to go with the youth on your side. However, can you still have buyer's remorse? Hell yeah. Talk about this. People out there who searching for a house. You got a townhouse, so you had to do this. Okay. Oh, I like that. I like that. Then you look at the realtor. How much? And they say, you say, what? Immediately that reaction is like,
I did that.
You did that, right? Either it's a what? Like, oh, I'm taking it. Or it's like, what? How much? When you look at this situation of Carson Wentz and the way he's performed and played, you're looking at him like, what? He costs how much? $32.5 million? He's making the third highest amount of dough this year of all NFL players when we talk about a quarterback since that contract. This is sad, bro. Since he got paid, he's 28th in passing yards attempt, 24th in passer rating, and 28th in completion percentage since he got paid. Now, let's talk about who he is right now. Oh, he's just a quarterback that's under 500. He's just a quarterback that is second to last in completion percentage and second to last in quarterback rating. So once again, you can say, ooh, that house is nice. Ooh, Carson Wentz is young. He is good. How much? That's where the Eagles are right now. Buyer's remorse, bro.
So I don't get it. I don't get it.
You get it.
You are an optimist, an eternal optimist. You see a half-full glass. Not only is half full, you see it as full, and you just think like, oh, the cup got extra space. Like, that is how you see life.
A little bit.
But when it comes to Carson Wentz, you're a pessimist. You're a biased pessimist. When it comes to Carson Wentz, oh, he has a losing record. Not he's currently leading the division and would get a 4 seed in the playoffs out of 7. When it comes to Carson Wentz, you're just such a pessimist, and I don't get it. I detest it. Now, obviously, we've kind of agreed that Carson Wentz was a better choice over Nick Foles, so I got to talk to the man, Marcellus Wiley.
Yes, sir.
What do you think Carson Wentz could have done differently with what he currently has? What quarterbacks in your mind do you think with this roster that Carson Wentz has would be doing significantly more?
Hey, when you get paid $32.5 million, that's not for me to answer. It's not for the GM to answer. It's not for anybody in that organization to answer except the guy who's receiving $32.5 million. I was once the highest paid on a team before. Crazy enough. I wasn't the best player, but I was the highest paid. Timing works. So here's the thing. When you're the highest paid, they don't want to hear anything. Boy, I had a surgery after a surgery to another surgery. And I had issues and injuries all around. And you know why? Because of that price tag. Big dog. When I used to go out there and I was in them streets like you are right now, super single as I was, I throw on 5, 10, 50 chains. And if nobody was checking for me, I'm like, why the hell I got all this on? Guess what? Why am I paying you all this money if we ain't checking for you? You know why they're not checking for him?
Why?
Who did they draft this year? Jalen Hurts. They already trying to say, look, Carson Wentz, you don't know this, big dog. I don't know if you know, but you're on notice. Your numbers don't support how much we're paying you. This guy is 17, 17-1 as a starter since that magical 2017 year. If you don't know math, that means you're under 500. Slightly, but you're under 500. Yeah. That one game. Yeah. You're not even
brain's gonna get you. You're right.
You're not a 500 quarterback since you were the man, and you're certainly not a 500 quarterback since we paid you. Carson Wentz, make it add up. Make it make sense.
Here's what doesn't add up. Okay. Just by paying Carson Wentz, you are not absolved of your duties and responsibilities on the team.
Great point. Great point.
You keep saying, well, they paid Carson Wentz. It's all on Wentz. Just because you paid Wentz doesn't mean Howie Roseman, the general manager, is absolved of building a roster.
Truth.
Just because he paid Carson Wentz doesn't mean Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, Dallas Goedert, they're absolved of being able to stay healthy. Just because you pay Carson Wentz doesn't mean he is your magical cure-all for every other ailment and every other illness. You can go to the doctor's office and treat one thing, but just because you treat that one thing doesn't mean everything else going to be healthy. So last offseason, I had to go get a PRP shot. I call them off-season because when you're in the league, PRP.
What's that?
Plasma.
You went to Germany?
Okay, chill out.
You got your blood spinning.
I had to pay like $500 to do something because my knee was hurting. Just because I fixed my knee didn't mean I was going to fix that creak in my neck. And that's what you're acting like. The Eagles paid Carson Wentz. So it's Carson Wentz's job to cover up the multitude of sins everywhere else. That's not the case.
Oh, that was strong. Now, that was a good pushback. I feel it right here. Woo! Now I got to push back again because guess what? I didn't grow up with any brothers, so I'm loving every moment we can go up here and talk some talk. Last year, I saw a fifth-year quarterback. I'm going to leave his name out of it, some more trivia fun. He led the NFL in interceptions. He led the NFL in giveaways and was one off the lead in sacks given, 47. Wonder where that quarterback is right now. Is he first string? No. Is he second string? No.
People are begging for him to take over the starting.
Begging. Well, he's third string at the Harvard of quarterback schools, as he says. He's in New Orleans. His name is Jameis Winston. And it's amazing that people can have their issues with Jameis Winston, but not their same issues with Carson Wentz, when Jameis Winston never got an extension nor anything near $32.5 million to be the man. So when I look at this, Carson Wentz is on pace to have 64 sacks this season. Only one quarterback's ever been sacked that many times, David Carr. You know what he's doing? What we're doing for a living. Can I finish with this? Please help me this. I want to ask you a question because I want to take your bias and strip it down and get to you, the man, as you said, Emmanuel Acho. His decision-making and accuracy is so suspect, I don't see him getting better anytime soon. Please answer this to me. What? You've seen him play bad for so long. Do you think he's going to really turn the corner and live up to this contract?
What I do think is this. I think that he will continue to have very bad games. But I think that his great games will offset how bad his games are. What do I mean by that? Yeah. I'm not gonna, don't take this literally. Brett Favre. Brett Favre has some terrible games.
Okay.
Brett Favre has some terrible seasons.
Yeah.
He still made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Because as bad as he was, he made the Pro Bowl when he had a 21 interception season. Because he threw for 34 touchdowns as well. I do think that Carson Wentz is who he is as far as his bad. The problem I have with you, the problem I have with other fans is they don't acknowledge the good. Does Carson Wentz have 12 interceptions this year, lead the league? Yes. At least prior to this past weekend.
Okay.
But does he also have 17 touchdowns? Top 10 in touchdowns.
Okay.
Yes.
That's your point.
Like, let's look at both sides.
Okay.
If Carson Wentz finishes with 34 touchdowns and 20-some-odd interceptions, but the Eagles make the playoffs, can you really be all that upset? I don't know. Not if they hosting a playoff game.
All I know is when you get that money, when you make the most, they expect the most. And right now, they do not. Even if you don't give us the most, you don't give us top 5. You don't give us top 10. You don't even give us top half of the league. You give us 30 seconds. When someone blindly, as you always say, someone comes from another planet and lands on Earth, excuse me, Earthlings, who's your best quarterback? And then who's your worst? Carson Wentz shouldn't be right next to that guy in terms of passer rating.
Come on, bro. You asked me a question. It's time for me to ask you a question.
All right.
What
coming up?
What quarterbacks do you think would be doing more than Carson Wentz has been doing? And based on what data do you have to back up your point?
Yeah, there's only a few. I'm not going to go to that Frankenstein and put him in that situation. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Russ Wilson, we know the names. The thing about it is, it's not even that conversation. It's the fact that this is your reality and you're getting paid this much. So guess what? Either you make this reality look different, closer to what your ability is, or you're going to have to get paid closer to what this reality is. You can't have it both ways if you're Carson Wentz. Come on, big dog. Coming up, Cam Newton's Patriots snapped their 4-game losing streak. We'll tell you if that means they're trending up. Next, Speak for Yourself. Where you at, Jamie?
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Cam Newton, he helped the Patriots snap their 4-game losing streak on Monday night against the winless Jets. Now, Cam still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since Marcel, am I reading that right? That's a September?
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire September, too.
But he did. Cam did rush for 2 touchdowns. The Patriots are now 3-5 and host the Ravens on Sunday.
Wow.
My dog, Greg Jennings, is back with us. America, I just want to let y'all know, Greg off camera said he was going to get me a birthday gift within the week. I just want to hold him publicly accountable to the world.
Okay.
World, y'all know this now. But Marcellus, let's talk about the gift of Cam Newton.
Oh, man.
Are Cam's Patriots trending upward?
Yes, they're trending upward. And if you're quiet right now, you can hear that song. Moving on now. To the east side. We all know that song. Deluxe apartment. That's where you live, huh? Deluxe apartment? 3rd floor? Whatever. Let me leave this dude alone. Okay, yeah, he's trending up. But here's the thing about it. There is room for improvement with Cam and the Patriots, and there's room for failure. Like, they're going to look better even in a failing effort. This week, they play the Baltimore Ravens. I don't expect them to beat the Baltimore Ravens. However, I do expect Cam Newton and this Patriots team to continue to look good, even in a losing performance. Kind of like what happened against the Kansas City Chiefs, when everyone was like, wow, the Patriots look good, even without Cam Newton. So sometimes you can need some help, you need to improve, and you still are failing all in the same breath. Look at this team right now. It's amazing Cam Newton is sitting there in this, like, bizarro world of, like, hey, in a losing effort against Seattle, I could get all the love in the world and everyone could praise me. But when I go out there and beat the Jets and I play well, everyone wants to diss me. So Cam Newton doesn't know which way is up because the world doesn't know which way is up. But if you do know football, you do know that Cam Newton and the Patriots are definitely trending up.
Sal, did you ever go to Six Flags growing up?
Oh, lived there, love it.
I love Six Flags.
Me too.
But I hated one ride. And coincidentally enough, this ride was called the Superman. And you know, on the Superman, America, you would buckle up into this thing and your feet would be dangling.
Yeah.
And you would go up, and out of nowhere, you would drop. And then you go back up, and then out of nowhere, you would drop. Marcellus, what is this one? It's not irony necessarily, but that this ride called the Superman and Cam Newton called the Superman is taking the Patriots on a similar ride. They're not trending up. Because just because you go up for a quick second, what happens on that ride, Marcellus?
Tick, 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 tick. They get quiet.
You about to drop. No, they're not trending upward. They beat the Jets.
Yeah.
It took them a 10-point fourth quarter comeback to beat the winless Jets. A backup quarterback playing, a ancient Joe Flacco starting Jets. Joe Flacco looked like Joe Flacco of 2012 winning a Super Bowl. That team, Marcellus. How you gonna tell me that the Patriots are trending upwards when they barely squeaked by the worst team in football? Some have submitted the worst team in NFL history. You're not trending upward because you win a game. I'm happy they won because Big Dog Cam, I hope he gets his checks one way, some way, somehow. But trending upward, hey, y'all, just remember that Superman ride. You might go up for a little bit, but you're going to come going down, and you're going to be screaming on the way down.
Oh, man. All right.
Come on now, Acho. You played this game.
Thank
you know,
you.
when you win, that's all that matters. I don't care who it was against. I don't care what their record is. That's out the window. Let's put this in perspective. You get a win after you've been on a losing streak. That is trending in the right direction, which is upward, which is what we're talking about. So, yes, the Patriots are trending upward. They didn't give up a sack for the first time all year. Cam Newton didn't throw an interception this week. Although he turned the ball over last week, he didn't throw an interception last week. So there are some signs that are letting us know that, okay, maybe this is starting to turn back around. And when you start to win, you got to pull out all those positives. We do a great job of highlighting all the negative things. Whether a team wins, whether they lose, we can highlight all the negatives. But let me give you this and let you marinate on this. You don't even have to marinate on it. You know the answer. Would you have rather the Patriots lose to the Jets or win against the Jets?
What you saying? What you saying?
Because if they lose, now it's a completely different discussion. But because they win, it's it's the Jets. No, it's a rival team that we know because we've all played this sport. Anytime you play an in-division rival team, records are out the window.
Yes.
It's about who is going to execute and who's going to come out with a win, and they were able to do that.
Greg, come on, bro. Let's be real for a second now, because I took the lazy narrative because I didn't want people to cuss me out virtually on Twitter when you said, would you have rather the Patriots win? I don't know. Patriots fans, what was the narrative, Greg? The narrative wouldn't have changed. Cam Newton, the season's already a mulligan. He's getting grace the whole season. Bill Belichick, legacy can't be marred, can't be scarred. Patriots aren't making the playoffs. Bill Belichick is a genius and we're all dumb. Patriots are already rebuilding. So if the Patriots would have lost to the Jets, the narrative wouldn't have changed. Marcellus has already granted the Patriots a pass, not even a get-out-of-jail-free card. 10,000 get-out-of-jail-free cards. They can't go to jail. Please pass go. Don't collect your 200 like your Gucci. So the narrative wouldn't have changed. In all honesty, when you asked me that, I shouldn't have been so lazy and talked to you just to appease you. If the Jets would have won, at least that doesn't guarantee the Jets Trevor Lawrence. If the Jets would have won, now the Patriots might have actually only been one loss away from Trevor Lawrence, one more loss away from Trevor Lawrence. Losing to the Jets again, I don't think they had already played before. So I answered and I lied. But now that I've turned 30, I'm trying to commit to not lying anymore, especially on national television. I'm a lie in private. So I don't know, Greg. Did they make the right decision? Am I actually happy that they won? I don't know.
Wow, look at you. Get him, Greg.
I just got I don't understand this. So you're telling me you don't know if you should win or lose?
No. What I'm saying is, if you're management and the world has already created the narrative that Bill Belichick is a genius and we're dumb, and Bill Belichick is building for the future, you've already created the narrative that Cam Newton is struggling this season because he's had a shortened off season. He's admitted he can't grasp the playbook. He got COVID. He got sick. You're the Patriots. The narrative has been created that the only reason you're bad is because 8 players opted out, including 2 Super Bowl starters. You already have the excuse built in. We're not playing for the playoffs. The world has already said Belichick's not going to make the playoffs. He's building for the future. So as a player, obviously, no, I'm not going to say I wish I would have lost. But as management, if the world has already said you're not making the playoffs, what you out here happy you beat the Jets by 3 points for? You have to make sense of that. Like, is it a moral victory?
Well, my grandmother always told me you can't make sense out of nonsense. That's why we're struggling to understand you right now, Acho, because what you're talking is nonsense. Are you kidding me? I know the national narrative, it will not change, but Acho's will. Acho will move the goalpost in that tight-ass suit. It doesn't matter to Acho. He gonna change how this thing is gonna look. Look, if Cam has success, you know what they say? Well, how the team do? And then when the team wins, they're gonna say, yeah, but who'd y'all play against? Like, that's how Acho rolls. Acho just doesn't want to look at it as a true evaluator, which separates wins and losses from actual performance.
They beat the Jets.
You act like the Jets don't have a roster full of college All-Americans. You act like they're not all black belts in the NFL. We'll get to that discussion later. But beating the Jets, beating whoever you beat, it doesn't matter. Pittsburgh, the first 4 games of their season, they didn't go against the tightest and the strongest strength of schedule. But guess what? They won those games. Did Pittsburgh come back and say, we just be a sorry team? It doesn't matter. Get the W, and then you're good.
Sal. So put Sal and Greg both on this screen. This man is a Super Bowl champion.
I know.
Greg Jennings has won at the highest level.
That dude.
Greg Jennings has won the highest game at the highest level. And yet he comes on this show with this stern brow, proud of the Patriots for beating the Jets. I'm not even convinced the Jets want to win. They cut Le'Veon Bell, a top-flight running back before he got to New York. They got rid of top-flight players. You traded Jamal Adams. The Jets don't even want to win. And Greg Jennings, You, a Super Bowl champion, the man who came on this show and made out with a piece of plastic, made out with his Lombardi trophy on camera, the man who knows greatness has now humbled his opinions, his takes, his goals and ambitions he had for himself to clap for the Patriots who beat the Jets?
Ooh, Greg.
I'm clapping for the Patriots because the question was, are Cam and the Patriots trending up? I'm not clapping because they beat the Jets. I don't care who was on their schedule.
Ooh.
If they're trending up, it means they're trending up. And they were losing. They found a way to win. They were giving up all kind of sacks every game.
Ooh.
They found a way to eliminate that. He was turning the ball over in the air, throwing interceptions. He eliminated that. Last week against the Bills, and this is why every game matters. Because last week, they have an opportunity to win the game. And what happens? He fumbles. He fumbles in the waning moments of the game, the crucial moments of the game, and he owned it. However, he bounced back this week. He didn't turn the ball over. He gave himself and his team an opportunity to win. That is all you can ask. You can't teach players how to lose. Management, you just talked about it. You just talked about the Patriots management. Well, the Jets management, yes, they're trying to lose, but the players ain't trying to lose. That's not what we do, Acho. I don't know, Super Bowl or not, there's nothing that's willing to lose in me or you, hopefully.
Acho, now you're going to let it be dead silent? He challenged you, homeboy. What you going to do now? All that fighting you want to do? Let's hear it now.
Society has told me the last 5 months is simple, Greg. All games can't matter until big games matter. Beating the Jets does not matter. Coming up in our big story,
I'm not talking to
Bruce Arians called out Tom Brady again after losing to the Saints. I'm going to tell you why I am not okay with him calling out the GOAT. You watch your mouth, Bruce Arians. You watch your mouth. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Blue Star Families wants you to know our troops don't only fight for us overseas. They've been fighting this pandemic right here at home. We're as diverse as our nation. You find us across the country at Blue Star chapters such as Dayton, Baltimore, Chicago, and Tennessee. Military families are here too, facing severe challenges while they serve. Thanks to your support, Blue Star Families is here for them. Text GIVEBSF to 44321 to support military families today.
In honor of Veterans Day, Fox Sports proudly salutes those who serve our country.
And that's why Fox Sports is helping Blue Star families to build communities around the world that empower military families. Learn how you can help by visiting bluestarfam.org. Now let's move to our big story and the Bucs. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions in the worst loss of his career Sunday against the Saints. We all remember what happened when New Orleans beat Tampa back in Week 1 and Brady threw 2 picks. Bruce Arians called him out publicly. Well, Arians was at it again after this latest loss, calling out the GOAT. Take a listen.
The interception to AB, that was just a poor throw. The one to Chris read the right properly. Tom thought he was going deep. He stopped. Those things can happen sometimes when you're doing it on the run. Mike was open a bunch in that ball game. He just didn't get targeted. That's all. He was open. Mike was open.
Greg is back with us. The champ is here, but Acho, starting with you. Are you okay with Bruce Arians publicly calling out the GOAT?
I love Bruce Arians, but I hate this. It's like B.A. Marcellus is trying to so vehemently prove his toughness that he ODs, like he overcorrects. Like, I'm going to show y'all just how tough I am. I'm going to call out the best player to have ever played the game every chance I get, because that'll show you that I'm a disciplinarian. We get it, B.A. You're tough. You're disciplined. You run a tight ship. All those other football colloquials. Calm down. I hate this. So, you don't need to overcorrect to prove a point. You don't go out there and say, yeah, our defense sucked. Where are those sound bites? Defense gave up 38 points. I don't hear him talking about that. Where's the sound bites on yourself? Bruce Arians? 3 rushing attempts in the first 12 plays. For those that don't know, and Greg can attest to this more than I can, first 12 to 15 plays on offense are scripted. The first 12 plays led to punt, 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 and one more punt for good measure.
And then a pick.
Bruce Arians. And then a pick on the next 2.
Hello.
Call out yourself. I don't hear much of that. So to me, it's disingenuous. To me, I'm reading through it. Whatever Bruce Arians is trying to accomplish by publicly calling out Tom Brady, when he's not publicly calling out the same other people with the same kind of assertiveness, I hate it. There's no real need for it, and eventually it might backfire before it does good.
Man, I love this from Bruce Arians. And I tell you why I love this is because this is the same exact climate culture that I grew up in. My grandmother her nickname was Gangsta G because she kept it 100 no matter how old you were and no matter what the conversation.
Did the G stand for Granny?
Oh, yeah, Gangsta G, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I was worried. You grew up in Compton.
Gangsta girl.
You got Gangsta G. I know what the G stood for.
Look. First of all, if you're a player and you hear this, like, this doesn't even faze you unless you're a little thin-skinned, unless you don't have high self-esteem. This cannot affect you. You know why? Because you just went out there and gave an embarrassing performance. You think the words that the coach have after an embarrassing performance matter more than that same performance? Wait a minute. So millions of people watch me actually go out there and lay an egg. But now that you're talking about it and fewer people are even hearing what you're saying about it, that should disturb me? No one's bigger than the team, and there's no I in team. When you talk about this situation, I think Bruce Arians is being counterintuitive. Acho likes this quote, and I'm a fan of it as well. When you go out there with the quote, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. Well, I think the counterintuitive way of looking at that is, in the locker room, what's the most cancerous thing you can have that spreads? Doubt. Like we're not as good as the Saints, or doubt that we're not as good as everyone says we are. Doubt. And Bruce Arians is like, let me open my mouth and remove all doubt. I'm talking about the act, not the actor. I'm talking about Tom Brady's performance, not Tom Brady. So anyone who takes issue with that is a public performer, needs to work on toughening up, needs to work on having thicker skin than being mad at Bruce Arians.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with what Bruce Arians did as far as calling out Tom Brady. The problem we have with it, or maybe Acho or whoever, is we're not accustomed to seeing Tom Brady, the GOAT, being called out. We're not accustomed to him needing to have these type of things happen for him to bounce back, because just the loss in and of itself is enough to ignite a resurgence the following week. The reason why I love it is because far too often, as a wide receiver in this game, you hear quarterbacks get passed, meaning the coach doesn't really like to throw blame on the quarterback or say my quarterback could have been better or he should have done this and the receiver was correct. Why? Because they feel like we don't want to put additional pressure on the quarterback. Well, guess what? The pressure is already at its highest level, at its peak when it comes to Tom Brady deciding to go to Tampa Bay, talking about Super Bowls, they then bring in Rob Gronkowski, they acquire Antonio Brown, they have all these pieces, and we're supposed to see this electric offense every time they step on the field. Well, Bruce Arians is like, look, we got this, show me every week, because I know we're capable of it. So I'm not going to allow any week to go by where you're not held accountable, Tom Brady. Mike Evans isn't held accountable. Chris Godwin isn't held accountable. It matters to all. The defense, for that matter, he's going to do this. He's called out the receivers when they drop balls. This is what he does. It is a slippery slope. But this is who he is.
I can't stand that approach, Greg, because I don't hear the same energy of him calling other people out. Remember, when you point one finger, you got three of them pointing right back at you. Unless Bruce Arians is going to get onto the podium and start with this, I sucked. I sucked today. First, it's on me. I'm the head coach. The Bucs starts and stops with me. I was terrible. Now, after saying that, go ahead and call out whoever else you want to call out. But unless you are going to start every Q&A session with a monologue of your errors, I don't want to hear about other people's errors. The other thing, I don't know if you heard this, Marcellus. I heard a little pain of Greg Jennings' past in his last speech.
Oh.
You know, I'm tired of quarterbacks getting a pass when receivers was doing everything right. I heard a little pain.
Aaron Rodgers.
As if Greg's still a little bit mad that A-Rod didn't get called out when Greg was doing some things wrong. But I'm not going to go there.
Christian Ponder.
I'm not going to go there because I think they've mended those issues. Greg, here's my problem.
Did they?
Oh, no. I read the tabloids. Here's my problem.
What?
On Tuesday, Bruce Arians on Drew Brees. Drew did a great job, I thought, last night of moving in the pocket and still being accurate. Guys were getting ready to hit him. He threw some really good balls down the field accurately. It's the best I've seen him play in a while. These two gentlemen just finished telling me that they're married, that they're the jealous type. Don't talk about somebody else if you're not going to talk about me that way. They even said, don't let nobody else in my kitchen. Don't eat nobody else's food. But y'all are okay with Bruce Arians showing love, affection, sending hard eyes to Drew Brees, but he ain't sending none to Tom Brady. Greg, make it make sense. You the jealous type. Make it make sense.
Hey, look. Tom Brady wasn't deserving of it. You know I'm not going anywhere. You know you my quarterback. You my Q. But right now you didn't dress appropriately. You didn't deliver what he did. So I'm going to acknowledge that. You saw it, and I saw it. The world saw it for that matter.
Wait a minute. First of all, every marriage ain't the same now. You keep putting me in the same boat with Greg.
Both y'all two and everybody in America.
All right, what up?
So, Greg, Marcellus, let me get this straight, because I'm trying to learn from y'all two here on this set.
Chill.
If you married, you're in a committed relationship.
Yeah, the same thing.
You go out.
What?
Your girl don't look like you wanted her to look. Your significant other don't look like you wanted them to look. And you see somebody else and they look great.
She fine.
You telling me that you will compliment this other person and you will tell your girl, well, hey, you didn't bring your A game tonight, so what you expect me to do? Yeah, I'm going to look at her.
Stop.
That's what you're telling me, Marcellus and Greg, that this is okay?
Hey, if somebody find out there, trust me, my wife is secure enough to say it first. She usually points it out first. She's like, oh, that's a nice, look at what she wear. I have to get that. We good in that. We good here. Look, we both feel secure. We have high self-esteem. It seems like you suffer from that right now, Acho, because you are soft. I mean, S-O-F-F-F, soft. Like he talking about, oh, coach, you're not giving me enough love. Hey, bro, you earn my love. You know how it goes. Here's the thing, Acho, you got to remember this in life. You can only hurt my feelings with my permission. That's what Tom Brady understands better than both of us. Man, he been the GOAT, dog. You know how much criticism he deals with on the daily? You think he's stunting Bruce Arians, echoing what he already knows and feels in his heart? Yeah, I kind of sucked the other day. So here's the thing. I love Greg Jennings' point about quarterbacks get protected all the time. They even wear a different color jersey in practice, the red jersey. They live in a bubble of protection. And then when we're in that same work week, let's talk about practice, y'all, where we really learn and get our preparation for the game on Sunday. Everybody gets it in practice, called out every single second. I mean, Marcellus, get your butt. Acho, come on. Greg, what the hell? And that's practice, right? That's where we're working. That's how we're building ourselves up. And then you get to the game, and then you perform bad, and then you want coach to now go and fake it, because basically the work week is the real, and then get to the podium and say, no, you know what? We're going to just turn the page and look forward. No, I'm okay with coach saying, Marcellus, you were horrible today. Guess why? Because I already know. I looked in the mirror. I realized I didn't bring it today. So it doesn't matter what you say. You're just echoing the reality.
Well, let me go back and address what Acho said. Number one, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of that to my wife. Look, babe, you good. You good. You always. that's me being real.
Hell yeah.
But when it comes to football, it's number one. Brady is a one of one. There is no other Tom Brady. There is no other GOAT. He is that. Mm-hmm. So he can take it. When you look at the game of football, it's 11 guys on the football field, okay? The expectation is for everybody to do their 111. What does that mean, Greg? That means do your job. And so just because I didn't do mine doesn't mean that we all got to go down on this film when we sit back and we assess the tape and say, Greg, that was a terrible job. Why? Because he didn't get me the ball? No, my job was done correctly. Let's highlight the person that didn't do their job. That's what we do when the tape is being played and when we're real with one another. This is a team that we're not trying to sugarcoat it. We're not trying to tap dance around what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to get to the Super Bowl. So they have to have thick skin, tough skin. We know Tom Brady has thickest of the thickest skin when it comes to that. He has been at the highest level. He's performed at the highest level. So the expectation is for him to play at the highest level every time he's under that center.
I love it right there. Yeah, Bruce Arians, as long as he stays focused on talking about the performance, not the performer, talking about the act, not the actor, no issues with me on your team. Coming up, the Cowboys say Dak is their quarterback for the future, but we'll tell you if there's any chance they still draft a quarterback in the first round. Ooh, next. Speak for yourself. About to get spicy.
My name is Private First Class Houston Russell from the Action Shooting Team. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day.
Appreciate you, Houston. Let's move on to the Cowboys. Their quarterback situation, it has been all over the place this season. Dallas has had 4 different starters, which has resulted in a 2-7 record and a good shot at a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. Dak Prescott can become a free agent, and Jerry Jones was asked if it's crazy to think the Cowboys could draft a quarterback in the first round. Y'all take a listen.
You asked me if it's crazy to bring the idea up, and I'm answering you, yes. We're playing games here, guys, but it's not the thing to be talking about at all. You know, Dak is our quarterback.
Greg is back with us, hopefully to finish off a day of terrible takes with a strong one. But got to go to Marcellus first.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that the Cowboys draft a quarterback in the first round?
Hell no. Did you hear Jerry's laugh? That was one of them laughs like, boy, you lucky you got me on this damn live air. Because, boy, I would dog curse you for this ignorant question. Hell to the no. Are they going to draft a quarterback? Now, look, if Trevor Lawrence falls in the draft to the Dallas Cowboys, I think the Dallas Cowboys will sit there, hold Trevor Lawrence hostage as trade bait to get another team to go and get him. But on their roster, no. The Dallas Cowboys already have their quarterback of the present and of the future once he heals up. I have to remind people that Gilbert's touchdown that we saw against the Pittsburgh Steelers was only the second touchdown by the Dallas offense since Dak Prescott was hurt, and that was 36 possessions later. Imagine if you guys could, a quarterback that was in this draft that could guarantee you wins, could guarantee you points. I wonder, would you draft that same quarterback? Well, this full screen will illustrate who you're going to draft. It's the quarterback you already have. Dak or bust? Whoa, 32 points a game with Dak Prescott. And only 10 cents. 6.5 net yards of play. We see all that, the yardage, 488, 278. You see 2 categories in which they're the worst team in the NFL since Dak has been injured. My question to you two is simple. If there was a quarterback to draft that can guarantee you 22 more points in the draft, you would take him, right? Well, then you already got him on your roster. Shut up the talk of drafting another quarterback. Dak Prescott is this franchise's quarterback.
Marcellus, it's hard to disagree with the emotions of that take. The Cowboys fans they're very emotional. I respect that. I'm from Dallas. I grew up in that Dallas Cowboys culture. I understand they're very emotional, so I will acknowledge your emotions. But what I will lead with is this. When you say any chance the Cowboys draft a quarterback in the first round, there should be a chance. I think there is a chance because you might not win a Super Bowl without Dak. But stats, study, and data shows you won't win one with him. You might not win one without him, but the data, not my opinion, the data shows you won't win one with him. Let me elaborate on said data.
Please.
Since what, 2011, outside of Tom Brady, every quarterback that's won a Super Bowl been on their rookie deal. I'll talk it out through you. Y'all remember the names as I go. Joe Flacco, he was on his rookie deal, won the Super Bowl before he signed $100 million. Russell Wilson, second year, he was on his rookie deal, won the Super Bowl before he got paid. Let's fast forward. There was Peyton Manning. He was, the 15th highest paid quarterback at that time? He took a pay cut, I think, from $19 million that season to $15 million. Hey, let's keep going. How about Carson Wentz? He was on his rookie deal, and Nick Foles came in as a backup quarterback to win it. Let's just keep going. Jared Goff, he went to the Super Bowl. Also, he was on his rookie deal. Then there's Patrick Mahomes. He won the Super Bowl last year on his rookie deal. You might not win the Super Bowl without him, but you won't win it with him. This isn't my opinion on how good Dak Prescott is. This is the facts of cap and cap structure. In the NFL, you just don't win a Super Bowl when you're commanding that much of the cap. If Dak Prescott were to be kept, he's obviously getting tagged again. If he's not getting tagged again, he's making $30+ million. So if you're Jerry Jones and someone gives you the opportunity in the top 3 overall picks to draft a guy like Justin Fields, a quarterback who had, 40 touchdowns to 1 interception at Ohio State, you have to at least consider it. And more than consider it, you have to weigh that out heavily. Obviously, if they get a chance at Trevor Lawrence, they're going to do that. I'm not even talking that kind of hyperbole. I'm talking a more realistic situation. Cowboys end up with the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Justin Fields is laying in their lap, a rookie quarterback on his rookie deal for at least 4 years. Jerry Jones should at least heavily consider that for the sake of the Cowboys. Where you at, G?
I'm with you right here, Acho.
My dog.
The Cowboys definitely will consider taking a quarterback if that being Justin Fields is there. We know Trevor Lawrence is not there, but let's just say he is there. And forget it. He doesn't even have to be there. This is how it works. Every draft year, the team has a draft board, and they go off their quarterbacks. They go off best players available. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they need so much. But the one piece that they haven't even shored up, and we all have identified that they have it, they've said they have it, and they want to keep it, but they haven't put their money where their mouth is. Where is that position? At quarterback. Why? Because they don't really want to pay that man, even though they know how good he is. So when you don't want to pay, you guys were talking about Carson Wentz and having buyer's remorse. Does the Eagles have buyer's remorse? When you look at that mark, that tag, or that condo, ooh, that's going to be steep. We all know, is Dak worth it? We believe so. But the Dallas Cowboys are looking at a draft like, but could we possibly get something that's not even as expensive, but can render us something better off down the road? Potentially. We don't know. We haven't won with them. The points are great. I love what Dak provides, but we haven't won. We haven't been deep into the playoffs. We haven't got past the divisional round. So all these things that we want to do are still on the table with or without Dak Prescott. It's a draft. This is why we have to evaluate talent. You have to take the best available talent possible. And if Justin Fields is there and Dak Prescott is injured right now. So and let me say this, I'll be done. We all know this is how the league works. It's you got to prove to me that you're going to earn that deal. Okay, now we prove to you that you're going to earn that deal. Dak Prescott, he played out the last 2 years, ball. Still didn't get paid. Now he gets hurt. Now you have to prove to me that you're going to come back and be the same player that you proved to me before when you didn't decide to pay me then. But I'm supposed to believe you're going to pay me now and not take the young draft pick possibly? I don't buy it. They will consider taking a quarterback in this draft.
You don't switch sides, homie. That's what you want to do, Greg? You want to cross the street, be on the other side?
The greener pastures.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to call you.
It's just a reality.
I disagree wholeheartedly with what you guys are talking about. But I've learned something about Emmanuel Acho in these last few months. I'm going to start calling him Mr. OK, Mr. Omission King, because I love how he cooks up a book. And if you let that dude talk fast and flap them gums, you're going to miss a few things. But I am a great listener. I talk a lot, but I listen even more. He said any quarterback since 2011, none of those guys
outside of Tom Brady.
Outside of Tom, well, duh, you don't want to. Tom Brady's a part of this conversation. You know why? Because he's been in 9 and he's won 6. So we're going to take Tom Brady out, and then we're going to carve up the calendar and just say since 2011. Oh, I wonder why we want to do that. Because we know we've seen it before where a guy could take up more than 10% of his cap and still win a Super Bowl. We saw it in 94 with Steve Young. We saw it in 96 with Brett Favre. We saw it in 06 with Peyton Manning. We saw it in 2011, right when Acho wants to be Mr. OK, or Mission King, and then we saw it with Eli Manning. But beyond all that, the Cowboys have greater needs. Offensive line, obviously. Let's talk about the fact that they need something on defense, especially in the secondary. Oh, we can address that, but no, let's just get another quarterback to sit them down behind a prolific quarterback in Dak Prescott. My last point on this is all simple, very simple. Last year's Super Bowl was a battle of contrast, a battle of discrepancy in terms of how you approach the salary cap. Jimmy G right there in the fourth quarter, leading in the Super Bowl by 10 points. On the San Francisco 49ers team that spent the most in terms of salary cap last year, playing against a team that eventually wins the Super Bowl, named the Kansas City Chiefs, who spent the least in the same Super Bowl. My point is this, Mr. OK. You can spend the most, you can spend the least, and you can still have an opportunity anywhere in between.
If you believe in coincidence, if like,
you
that
believe
was
in
such
reality.
a great coinky-dink.
Reality.
No, Marcellus, who won the Super Bowl? The Chiefs did. So don't talk to me about
49ers defense gave it up.
The 49ers were close to. No,
they was in it.
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Furthermore, I don't like using ancient data, Marcellus. I talked
2011 is ancient?
I talked about since 2011 because
Eli?
the game has vastly evolved.
Eli?
You know far better than I the game has evolved.
I don't know.
Even Eli in the 20, even since then the game has evolved.
I haven't played in a while. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't played in a minute.
I hate you. It's very, very simple. Cowboys, you have to at least consider it. Dak Prescott, he's shown what he can do. I know what the Cowboys can do with Dak Prescott, but I know this. This is what I've learned this year. The Cowboys are very bad without Dak.
Yes.
But if you were to get in that younger, cheaper quarterback, can you fix the other issues on the roster? Tom Brady's Bucs were the talk of the NFL this offseason. And I'm going to tell you why I'm worried that they believe in their hype. This is a little too much. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Well, we can do that Dak topic again. Let's go back to the Bucs. They came into the season with high expectations after signing the GOAT, Tom Brady. After losing their opener, they won 6 out of 7, but then they were blown out by the Saints, whatever, who have now swept Tampa this season. Boy, they on my head on Twitter with this. All right, a popular Bucs podcast said maybe Tampa is, quote, reading their press clippings and believing their own hype. So Acho worried the Bucs are believing their hype. Don't. No puppet getting me and you? No.
You needed a DJ to back you on that one, big bro.
Rewind selection.
I'm not even worried about it because I know it happened. I'm worried about things that I'm not sure if they're going to happen. This I know happened, and it's a problem that the Bucs are believing their own hype. Don't take my opinion. Let me just let me profess to you the information. 5 rushing attempts, the fewest rushing attempts in NFL history. That's what the Buccaneers attempted against the Saints. One of those rushing attempts was a kneel. So legitimately 4 rushing attempts.
Yep.
How does that happen? Let me tell you how it happens. It happens because you start to listen to the media tell you, oh, you just acquired Antonio Brown, Hall of Famer.
Oh.
You got Rob Gronkowski, Hall of Famer. You have Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer. You're Bruce Arians, one of the greatest passing minds in the history of the NFL. Oh, and you have Tom Brady at quarterback, Hall of Famer. When you start to believe the hype, when you start to forget about the process, Marcellus, and just think you're going to go out there like the greatest 7-on-7 team ever assembled, even though it's football, 11-on-11 with real pads, that's how you lay an egg like the Buccaneers did against the Saints. The Saints aren't 35 points better than the Buccaneers. It's not possible. Even on the Buccaneers off day, they're not that much worse. But there was a fundamental DNA structural issue between the Buccaneers' game plan against the Saints. How does that happen? It happens by believing the hype.
Wow, interesting. I'm trying to separate Acho, the broadcaster, from Acho, the former player. I'm going to tap into you, Acho, the former player. You know that when you play in the NFL, man, like you're going against the top 0.1% of all football players that walk the planet, right? So it's all black belts. So there are situations where you can work hard, stay focused, and still get your butt handed to you. You know this. There's the games that I played well or the games that I failed in. The preparation wasn't really the separation.
Fair.
Sometimes you just run against somebody. You're like, yo, he got me. And once he got you, he keeps you off your square. So to me, this is something my daughter talks about a lot. At first, it caught me off guard because on their campus, and I guess this is a college thing, they walk around and the athletes look at everyone else as NARPs. They call them NARPs. Non-athletic regular people, they call them. I kind of like it. And it's funny, you know why? Because there are different mindsets. I'm in the real world now, so I get both worlds. I remember being an athlete, and I hated when people, those NARPs, would sit there and talk about athletes saying, oh, he's not focused. His eyes off the prize. That's why he came up short. That's not why I came up short. It's because the other guy is so damn tall. Let me give you an example for the real world. I was in the spelling bee when I was young. I was a little nerd. And, you know, you can watch the spelling bee right now, and we watch it every single year, and we're like, oh, look at them. They won the spelling bee, spelling words we can't even spell as adults, right? Imagine they had an all-star spelling bee competition. All the winners of all the years had to come together and finally do a spelling bee off. The one who misses a word, or the one who loses, the one who comes in last place is not sorry. It's not reading his spelling bee press clippings. It's just he's around other spelling bee black belts. He just came up short. It doesn't have to be because you're caught up that you took a L. It may be just not your day.
First, let me preface with this. A person right above me in the grade in my high school won the spelling bee.
Yeah?
Poco Carante was his winning word, Saiganturi.
I thought that was his name.
Poco Carante. No, that was the winning word. His name was Saiganturi. Anyway, I'm just letting you know the type of education your boy was getting even in 7th grade. That's why I'm up here cooking you on these tapes.
My dog.
Anyway, Sal.
That was sick.
It's not if you lose, it's how you lose. I'm going to give you 3 teams. I'm going to give you 3 games. The Packers lost to the Buccaneers. They got embarrassed 38-10. You could say it was an equally bad loss, but how did they lose? Single-handedly, I'd give that loss to Aaron Rodgers. An interception for a touchdown and an interception to the 3-yard line. I would say that's how they lost. The Chiefs, they got beat by the Raiders. Their 1 loss on the season. How did they lose? Well, they didn't know that the Raiders had crazy speed at receiver. Henry Ruggs, first-round pick, went crazy on them boys.
He did.
That's how they lost. The Ravens lost to the Steelers. How did they lose? Lamar Jackson, 4 turnovers. Can't have it. In no way, shape, or form can you ever have that. Most turnovers Lamar Jackson's ever had in a game. Why do I say that?
Why?
It's not if you lose, it's how you lose. I can pinpoint all of those losses by all really good teams this season. But the Buccaneers, I'm not going to say it wasn't Tom Brady's fault. It wasn't the defense's fault. It wasn't the running back's fault. It wasn't the offensive line's fault. It was a collective summation of error by every individual, which to me starts with the head coach. The mentality, the way the game was called, a terribly called game, it seeped onto the field. So while, yes, you will take losses if you're playing sports, they get paid too. Them other dudes on scholarship. That's how we used to talk even in college. Everybody, they working as well. But how are you losing? When I saw the way the Bucs lost, Marcellus, it was not an individual. If it was on an individual, I'd say, you know what? They just took an L. It was a collective DNA structural error.
Your take works. It just doesn't work for this situation. And I'm not even going to discard it. I'm just going to go on the side of it and talk to these people.
It's a side dish?
It's a nice side dish, too, like mac and cheese. Yeah, lobster mac and cheese.
I'll take, if my take is lobster mac, I will take, because you can go to a restaurant and just order lobster mac, and you be good.
And you good. Maybe stomach still flat after? Not much. Okay. Whoever these podcasters are, and I don't want to discredit them, but just tell them how off base they are. This is classic projection. This is classic projection from NARPs. I don't even know if they're NARPs. Sound NARPish in this sense. Listen to this quote. I can't believe they said this, and this actually gets ratings. Quote, when we're told that we're so great and so awesome that we start to believe it and we start to buy into it, and the effort goes away. That is the most NARPish thing I've ever heard. Because, Acho, how did you become an NFL football player? You know what your road looked like? Player of the Year in Texas. Went to University of Texas. You guys were top ranked in a couple of your years. When we read our press clippings, it gives us fuel to the fire because every single guy that makes it to the NFL has to not only persevere, but has to separate the signal from the noise. Everybody in the NFL was the man in high school, college, was an All-American somewhere. So press clippings has never been something that gets into our formula, to our DNA, and makes us do less. It makes us do more.
Real quick. But there can be times where if you start to read into the hype too much, you forget the process.
I'll give you that.
That's the only thing is, my fear is that the Buccaneers may have read so much that they forgot the process. The process does not go out and only run the ball 4 times a game. The process is, remember, you got killers on the outside, that's great, but you also have to stick to a fundamental game plan to win in the NFL. Coming up, the Steelers are undefeated, but Big Ben's status this Sunday is up in the air. We'll tell you if they should be on upset alert against the Bengals. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Hello, everybody. This is Specialist David DeLeon with the 101st Division Sustainment Brigade at Camp Arif John Kuwait. I just wanted to tell everybody back home, I love everybody. Congratulations to my brother and sister-in-law on the new baby. And I wanted to say, go Chargers, #1.
Thanks, David. And yes, go Chargers. Let's move on to the Steelers, who are undefeated but have question marks leading up to Sunday's matchup against the Bengals. Ben Roethlisberger was among 4 players placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. But the team is optimistic he can play. On the other side, last year's overall #1 pick, Joe Burrow, has earned a lot of respect in his first season. Mike Tomlin had nothing but praise for the rookie. Listen.
Man, been really impressed with their quarterback, Joe Burrow. He's as good as advertised. His physical talents are one thing, and you know, they're rock solid, man. This guy can make every throw. His accuracy is exceptional.
All right, praise right there. Acho, should the Steelers be on upset alert against the Bengals?
No doubt about it, bro. If you watch that Cowboys game, you know the Steelers should be on upset alert, whether their players are healthy or not. But forget the Steelers. Let's talk about the Bengals for a second. Let's not act like the Bengals didn't upset the Titans, who had only had 1 loss. Should have been fired up playing the Bengals because they were recently coming off their loss. Yet the Bengals still smacked them in the mouth. The Bengals have lost 4 of their games by 1 possession or less. They have 5 losses on the season. And so if you are a Bengals fan, you realize you knocking on the door. You're going to knock somebody off. This Bengals team is a really good team. As crazy as it is, 2-5-1. What do you mean they're a good team? They're a good team with talented players. They are close, but they're not there yet. If the Steelers try to sleepwalk through that game like they tried to sleepwalk through the first 3 quarters of the Cowboys game, they got something else in store for them.
Yeah, definitely be on upset alert. As you said, not only beat Tennessee, beat them by 11. All 1-possession losses except against one team. I wonder what team it is. Baltimore Ravens. Oh, Ravens said, yeah. Every other team, they kind of sleepwalk through it or take the L. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers in this situation? It's interesting. Not just the Dallas Cowboys game, which they got by in a nail-biter. The Baltimore Ravens game was close, nail-biter, and the Tennessee Titans game. They almost gave that one up as well in the nail-biter. So the last 3 games, look, 2 great teams and then the Dallas Cowboys. Point being, they're all close. Point being, if you're a Cincinnati Bengal, we're going to be in this game, it looks like, the way that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been trending. Let's talk about how the Bengals have been trending. Goodness. Joe Burrow versus the AFC North this season, 66% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 93 passer rating. And he's one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL. They've put up 65 points over the last 2 games. And look at this. One of 5 teams in the NFL averaging 30 or more points and 400 or more net yards. The record is not telling you how good they are. They're coming.
The other thing you have to consider is, 1, the Bengals are coming off a bye week. Come off a bye week, you got a lot more time to prepare. That's big for Joe Burrow.
Let's go.
But then the other thing is, this is the toughest division in football. I played for the Browns my rookie year, and I realized all those games were battles. Now, the scoreboard might not be as indicative that it was a battle, depending on how talented or talentless a team was, but you're not cakewalking through any of those interdivisional games. I do think that the Bengals still have a whole lot to play for, but I also think this about the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, he's won 7 straight against these Bengals, 23-7 against them. Sooner or later, like we saw against the Cowboys, you might just start to mail it in.
2-5-1, you said their record is?
2-5-1.
But they have a lot to play for, but the Dallas Cowboys only 1 back in the win column. All of a sudden, they don't have a lot to play
how
for.
You think about the Cowboys?
All I know is I listen to you from beginning to end.
We're talking about the Bengals.
Well, let's get out of this. Let's talk about you. Coming up, my man Acho was on Jimmy Kimmel's show last night to preview his new book. We'll get into all of that and more next. Speak for yourself, Acho. Big time. And welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Oh, I'm so happy right now for this moment. Before we go, myself and the entire Fox Sports family want to congratulate you, Acho, on your new book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, which is out now wherever books are sold. Just found out that the book has sold already over 18,000 copies and is number 5 overall on Amazon. Congratulations, big dog. So how does it feel to officially join me as an author, but a better author than me already?
Man, no, it's been crazy. I think doing this show is one thing. Talking about sports, that's fun. Talking about sports is kind of an escape. But sometimes you have to talk about issues that are a little bit heavier. Sometimes you got to talk about issues that are more life-related. And so while everybody has their favorite sports team, I think this Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man talking about race, talking about racial reconciliation, talking about how we can come together as a society in America towards our common goals, that to me really moved me. And for it to release on my 30th birthday, that was crazy. So shameless plug, go out, support the book,
Definitely.
Go out, buy the book, wherever books are sold, or uncomfortableconvos.com. To join you as an author, bro, is special. Like, we look at life and we think about our accomplishments. Making it to the NFL, that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
Graduating from college, getting degrees, that's an accomplishment. But then you think about writing a book, the journey, the process, everything that goes through there. I think, Marcellus, the spoken word has sizzle. The written word has substance. And while I got a lot of clicks and 70 million views on Uncomfortable Conversations, a show, I'm trying to give somebody a figurative baton. You know that sport, track and field we love?
Yes.
Give a figurative baton that can be passed down from generation to generation. So this book is supposed to be that figurative baton towards racial reconciliation, because I want everybody to get off the bench, get out the stands, get onto the field, and let's all join the fight towards equality together.
Man, so proud of you, man. You were so eloquent. We saw you on Kimmel, Good Morning America, The View, and then you came back to Slum with Me. I love you, man. Any last words of what you did on your birthday, though? Don't forget that. What'd you do?
I was trying to stay COVID safe.
Okay. He lying. Fox Bet Live is next.